What if I told you there's a shortcut that saves ships nearly 8,000 miles of travel and completely changed global power, trade, and even American history? A single waterway connecting two oceans turned the United States into a global superpower, reshaped international shipping, and remains one of the greatest engineering achievements ever built. This is the incredible story of the Panama Canal, how it was built, why America controlled it for nearly a century, and why it still matters today. Before the canal existed, ships traveling between the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean faced a brutal journey. They had to sail all the way around South America's Cape Horn, one of the most dangerous sea routes on Earth. Storms, freezing waters, and massive waves made voyages slow and deadly. A trip from New York to San Francisco could take 2 months or more. For global trade and military movement, this was a massive problem. The idea of cutting a passage through Central America sounded impossible, but also revolutionary. The first serious attempt came from France in the 1880s. The project was led by Ferdinand de Lesseps, the same engineer behind the successful Suez Canal. He believed Panama would be just as easy. It wasn't. Panama's jungle was unforgiving. Intense heat, landslides, flooding, and deadly diseases like malaria and yellow fever killed tens of thousands of workers. Engineering challenges were underestimated. Corruption scandals exploded in France, and by 1889 the project collapsed in financial disaster. The canal seemed impossible. At the start of the 20th century, the United States saw something others didn't. A canal wasn't just about trade, it was about power. The U.S. Navy needed rapid movement between oceans to defend both coasts. President Theodore Roosevelt became the driving force behind the project. He believed America had a destiny to become a global maritime power. But there was one problem. The canal route lay inside Panama, which at the time was part of Colombia. After political tensions and negotiations failed, Panama declared independence in 1903, with strong American support. Soon after, the U.S. gained control of a strip of land known as the Panama Canal Zone, where construction would begin. Construction officially began in 1904, and this time America changed everything. First, doctors attacked disease. Mosquito control programs drained swamps, fumigated cities, and dramatically reduced malaria and yellow fever deaths. Then engineers redesigned the canal itself. Instead of digging a sea-level channel like the French tried, Americans built a lock canal system, giant water elevators that raise ships up to an artificial lake and lower them back down on the other side. It required moving over 200 million cubic yards of earth, building massive concrete locks, creating Gatun Lake, then the largest artificial lake in the world. More than 40,000 workers participated during peak construction. After a decade of relentless work, the canal finally opened in 1914. The impossible had become reality. Here's the genius behind it. Ships don't simply sail straight across Panama. Instead, they enter locks that fill with water, lifting vessels about 85 feet above sea level into Gatun Lake. Ships then cross the lake before descending through another set of locks to the opposite ocean. The entire crossing takes about 8 to 10 hours, compared to weeks around South America. Today, roughly 5% of global maritime trade passes through this single canal. That includes cars, oil, grain, electronics, and everyday goods Americans buy daily. For decades, the canal became one of America's most strategic assets. The U.S. operated, defended, and managed the canal, turning it into both an economic engine and a military advantage. During both world wars, the canal allowed rapid naval deployment between oceans, something no other nation could match. But control of the canal also created controversy. Many Panamanians viewed American administration as foreign control over their own land, leading to protests and political tension throughout the mid-20th century. In the 1970s, negotiations began to change the canal's future. U.S. President Jimmy Carter and Panamanian leader Omar Torrijos reached an agreement to gradually transfer control of the canal to Panama. On December 31, 1999, after nearly a century of American administration, the canal officially became fully controlled by Panama. Today, it is operated by the Panama Canal Authority, and many experts consider it one of the most efficiently run waterways in the world. Even in the age of airplanes and digital trade, the canal remains critical. Modern container ships save enormous fuel costs using this shortcut. Without it, shipping prices and consumer costs would rise worldwide. In 2016, Panama completed a massive expansion allowing larger, new Panamax ships to pass through, doubling capacity and keeping the canal competitive in modern trade. The canal now sits at the center of global economics, supply chains, and even geopolitical competition. Whoever controls trade routes often shapes the future of global power, just as America understood over a century ago. The Panama Canal is more than an engineering project. It's a story of ambition, failure, innovation, politics, and international cooperation. It transformed the United States into a global maritime force, reshaped world commerce, and proved that human engineering could literally change geography itself. Every time a ship passes through those locks, it saves time, money, and fuel. A reminder that one bold idea can reshape the entire world. And that's why the Panama Canal remains one of the most important waterways ever built. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history and geopolitics, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what should we explore next? Because sometimes, the most powerful borders in the world aren't lines on a map. They're the ones we build.